Welcome to the PHNX Sun Devils podcast, or I should say live show, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, the one and only sportsbook. Download today using the code PHNX and receive $200 in free bets when you place $5 or more on any NFL team to win, and they do. Hello, welcome. Today I am joined by the Sun Devil great, Gary Knudsen, and we are waiting on one other, Rodney Cox. He'll be here shortly walking in as we're rolling, but Gary, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Thank you so
Beautiful
much.
Day today. Yeah, pleasure to be here. This is a great setup you've got here.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. So, you've been a part of Sun Devil Nation for quite some time. Before we got started, we were talking about how you were part of this 86 Rose Bowl team, or 87, I should say. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I was a redshirt guy that year, so I didn't get to participate in any games, but it was an amazing squad. I mean, the amount of guys that came off that team and ended up playing in the pros, I think there's maybe 10 guys that went pro off that team, and so kind of just set the bar for, I think, the program. Obviously, there's some great teams under Frank Cush's tenure here, but that 86 team was pretty special with guys like Randall McDaniel and Aaron Cox and Sean Patterson and Todd Kalis, and there was a real Arizona feel to that team, especially on the offensive line. And so it was an amazing team, and although I wasn't actively a part of it, I feel like that the first year that I got here, and even as a redshirt guy, I still take some pride in that team for sure.
As you should. You should. You were still a part of it. You were there in and out. You were at the early morning practices still. You were still grinding, even though you weren't the one necessarily out on the field making those big plays. You were still a part of it in the background for sure.
Sure, yeah, and heart and mind for sure. Absolutely.
So what is your Sun Devil story in terms of, making your decision to come to Arizona State and the whole process of what it was like for you here and how you decided to want to stay so involved?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington, and went to a real small high school, Edmonds High School, in kind of the north end of Seattle. And we were a AA school, and I actually thought I was going to go to college and play safety. That was kind of my position. I played tight end, obviously, but I really loved playing defense, and was getting some scholarship offers from some smaller schools, kind of like the Linfields of the world, and PLU and Western Washington, and I'd heard from a couple guys that there was this junior college program over in Eastern Washington that was kind of this football powerhouse. And this is back in 1984, right? And so there was, a significant amount of junior colleges around the country, from Coffeyfield, Kansas to, I went to Walla Walla JC, and the talent on that team that I played on in junior college was amazing. There were a lot of guys that were non-predictors.
Yeah.
They were below 2.0, and some of them had some kind of shady backgrounds, but man, they could play ball. And so I played there for 2 years, was an All-American my second year, and then that's when I had an opportunity to be recruited by schools like Utah and Oregon State, and then Arizona State. I mean, the reason I came to Arizona State was, they had 2 senior tight ends. And as a junior college guy, you really want to find a program where, you can learn the system, right? And not be thrust into kind of this starting role, which is really the situation for most JC kids. I mean, if a JC kid's being recruited, they want them to come in and play.
Yeah.
And really contribute right away. Arizona State had 2 senior tight ends. And so it was an ideal situation for me, and it worked out great. Redshirted my first year here. We won the Rose Bowl. And then our next year, I was a starter, and we had a great team that year as well. We just were lacking a couple key positions on that next year's team. And had we, I think had a more consistent quarterback, although I love Dan Ford, and if he's seeing this, I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I think he would be the first to admit there was some inconsistencies, in his play that year. Outside of the quarterback position, we were really, really strong. I mean, Randall McDaniel was still on that team.
Yep.
On the offensive line, Aaron Cox, who was a first-round draft pick with the Rams, was on that team. Our defense was loaded. We just didn't have consistency at the quarterback position. So, but man, in hindsight, I couldn't have chosen a better school to come to. It's been a great situation for me, and now my family's here, and I've lived here longer than I have anywhere else, and Phoenix is my home, and proud to support the Sun Devils, and the ups and downs, every year, and we're always kind of cautiously optimistic, and I think this was one of those years we were really, I think, excited about what could be this year. And and unfortunately some things have transpired that have impacted them in a negative way, and a lot of, I think, the problems with the team this year is they're self-imposed. The penalties, for example, I think is the biggest killer. And when you look at the 2 games that we've lost, and the amount of penalties, whether it's Utah or BYU, we're just killing ourselves.
Yeah, it's 100% just shooting themselves in the foot and making it hard. That was something that Herm Edwards actually had talked about in the press conferences this week. It's hard to win a game when you're spotting another team more than 100 yards and just saying, here, take this. And we're going to find a way to work our way back from that. And, there have been games where they've done it, but also when it's reared its head, it's been ugly. So it's definitely been something that they need to focus on. But, he's talked about how it needs to be a player-led team. Was the team you were on a player-led team, or what was that like?
No, absolutely. I can remember my junior year. We had a couple situations where we had kind of players-only meetings, where no coaches were involved, and so we had really tremendous leadership on those teams. Like I said, guys like Randall McDaniel and Aaron Cox and Greg Clark and Stacey Harvey and Sean Patterson. We had some tremendous leaders on those teams, and I think to a certain extent that's very true. Successful teams are really about the chemistry of those guys, and the teams that have great success, if you really analyze, the secret sauce, if you will, it's comprised of some really, really strong leaders on those teams.
Yes, I really think that, and it's the same thing that, ASU basketball is dealing with right now as well. Last year they didn't necessarily have those same leaders. I know it's a different sport, but still, a team that is player-led and player-driven is just going to have a different sort of mentality. So I think it's going to be exciting to see what this team does this week, especially coming in off of a bye. That loss was critical, not necessarily something you want to go into the bye with, but, I'm not sure how much you followed the press conferences that they've been having, but Herm Edwards mentioned on Monday he wrote all of the captains and the senior leaders a letter in terms of what he was, where they were, and just addressing some of the things that he wanted to talk with them about, because he felt like it would resonate more with them. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. Rodney, welcome. I haven't made my way over here yet, but I just was wondering how you guys feel about that in terms of if a coach were to write you a letter, how that would help you in terms of, if you were a leader, if you are in that leadership position, to get the ball rolling and help the team proceed forward.
I don't know. Listen, if somebody needs a letter to kind of turn it on and get on track, I don't know. I don't know if that's something that I would have needed, What's your take?
You know what? First off, I think with these kids nowadays, I think they need something like that. You know what I mean? You know, like I played 04 to 08, so with Coach Cutter and Coach Erickson, and you know, these kids need to be a little bit of massage. You know, so I think something like that, maybe like a mental state might trigger something, you know, as far as like, hey, you know, you're a leader, maybe holding them accountable, maybe giving them that boost, you know, just from losing the previous week and things like that. So,
would a letter have been as effective for you?
Okay.
Versus coach having you come in his office and talking man to man?
That's a good point. Truthfully, I'm more of a one-on-one, man-to-man type of, hey, let's sit down, let's talk this through, let's see what we can do better, what we can improve in, things like that. But maybe in that letter, again, we don't know what was written or what was said, but maybe it could touch somebody like, man, you know what? Coach really does believe in me, you know, things like that. So I think either or would work.
Sure.
But I mean, I'm more like you know, that hard nose, like, hey, get your together. You know what I mean? You're a student athlete at a Pac-12 school, things like that. So,
you make a great point though, and it lost me for a second because I was thinking about, you know, if I was playing or the guys I know in our era, right, in the 80s, right? I like, you know, that kind of I can't even imagine, you know, somebody like a Jim Coletto writing a letter to the players, right?
I think it'll be interesting.
But it's, to your point, it's different. It's a different deal now.
It's, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know, he said that he did that and he chose that path because it for him, he always liked receiving letters all his life. It gives him something that he can reflect back on and look at, and it's not something that you have to think about. You always have it there and you can look at it. It's a physical piece of something you can reflect back on. And so I think that he wants them to have that as something to keep looking at, to kind of ingrain it in their mind more. Maybe he feels like they're more visual learners. I don't know if that might be something that they're learning. I would think the visual learning from the penalty flags would be enough, but I don't know. I'm not the one playing.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, it's not a bad thing. Listen, I mean, you get a letter from your coach, and again, not knowing any details on what was in the letters, but if it spoke to my character, it spoke to things that he knew about me that would possibly motivate me, right? Man, that's a positive.
Yeah.
That's a positive for sure.
So we just heard Gary's Sun Devil story.
Okay.
Rodney, I know you have one yourself that's pretty miraculous. Like we talked about it last night a little bit. You know, started off as a walk-on, worked your way up to being a starter on the defense as a senior. So go ahead and walk us through your story.
Walk us through. So originally from California, LA to be exact. Man, it was just
LA to be exact, because it's really big there though.
Okay, it is. Okay, so you want me like make it smaller? Okay, Compton.
Okay.
Now I pinpointed it. There you go. You would do that to me right now.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Continue.
You know, just have fun. You know, walked on at ASU. Coach Cutter recruited me. You know, and I just believed in myself at the end of the day. You know, my parents and I, we took a chance, you know, to say, hey, you know what, we got to go forward and believe in your skills. And that's what we did. I walked on, have fun, follow my guy, Mike Davis Jr. And within, first semester, I got a scholarship. It was crazy.
Nice.
Worked my tail off. You know, was on the nickel package on defense, traveling squad, every special teams. So again, it was good. It was amazing. Then from there, kind of graduated, played some arena ball out in Green Bay. So I am a Green Bay Packer fan. So I know. Listen, don't do that. Listen, people.
He played for the Rams, so I mean, I have nothing to say.
Hey, I did a little bit of Googling when I was on my way.
I had 2 stellar preseasons.
I saw that in your bio.
You still will remember.
Right. So it's crazy. So like, I've been a Green Bay Packer fan all my life, so it's kind of weird. I'm like, oh man, the Packers play against the Cardinals. Go Pack, go.
What do you think? Who's gonna take it?
Are you serious? The Packers.
Why?
Okay. Why? Here we go. The Cardinals need to lose. This is the best team to do it. You can.
Why do they need to lose?
Listen,
Says who?
Because they do. They're not going undefeated. What does Aaron Rodgers always say?
Are these archived?
I know, right? Okay, good. So, here we go. The score is going to be 38-35. 38-35. Aaron Rodgers is going to lead a 45-second leading drive to put him into a field goal with struggling Mason Crosby. Because he's been struggling for the past 3 weeks. Again, I know this because I watch football all day. 38-35. Sign it up. Let's go.
All right. I'm not going to make a prediction, but I am going to just say how ironic it will be if, they hit another, Hail Mary like they did against the Bills and just light you up.
Don't do that to me.
It's going to be 35-38, and then they're going to throw a Hail Mary, and that's how they're going to win, right? That'll be it.
Man, they're always great games. Green Bay and the Cardinals have turned into kind of this little rivalry. It's my team growing up in Seattle is the Hawks.
Okay.
Right. Second favorite team, the Cardinals.
Okay.
I've got a lot of friends that work at the Cardinals and whatnot, so I gotta mention that. But yeah, the Seahawks, man, I wouldn't mind seeing the Cardinals take a L. It wouldn't hurt my feelings too bad.
There's a lot of people I think that are in that
the
boat.
Seahawks don't have any chance, it looks like this year, in the toughest division in football.
I know.
Hands down.
Russell Wilson's out.
Oh man, Carson's out.
I know.
It's not looking good.
I have them on my fantasy team, and I cry.
Yeah.
You ready for this? I was down 5 points last Monday. Okay, Monday Night Football. Oh my God, this is easy. I had Tyler Lockett. Gave me 3.2 points.
Yeah.
I lost by 2 points.
Geno throws that flat ball, and Russell throws those just sky balls.
I'm telling you, it hurts. So Seahawks is looking.
I feel you, man. I had Russell as my QB. I had McCaffrey as my running back, and Carson as my running back.
IR.
All of them.
That's 3 of a kind.
Man, it's ugly.
Do you guys play fantasy with anybody that you played actual football with? Any fantasy football
year,
games
no.
against
This year, I just
people?
played with my son and some buddies. But,
Likewise, likewise.
Have you ever in the past played fantasy against your old teammates?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that I played with that used to do fantasy. But I don't know, man. With COVID, I don't know what happened this year. We got a real late start on our team, so it was just my son and some friends. We just put it together real quick at the end.
Oh yeah. Likewise here. I mean, we've been in this keeper league for the last 3-4 years, so we're just having fun, keeper league, and it's interesting because I lost last year, first ever. So I was back-to-back champion. I'm like, yeah, let's go for a three-peat. So we decided to do a last player bet, or not a bet, but like a punishment. So I had to dress up, and thanks to my wife, she put me in this tutu. So it's on Instagram. So I had to walk around the neighborhood wearing this sign that said last place loser. I'm not gonna show you because I don't trust you. You're not right, because you would put that all over social media. Not doing it at all. No. But yeah, it's fun.
You got a winner's pot? What's the pot?
Oh man,
how much? What's winner take?
So 5, 3, and 2.
Nice.
Yeah. Now I got another league. That's $100.
Big money.
That's $500 a person, and it's 10 of us.
Wow.
3,000 first player.
Hey man, that makes it interesting.
And it's a 2 quarterback league.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes it interesting.
It does. It makes the week go by fast. It's pretty fun. So we're loving it.
Well, keeping things back on track with ASU. Sorry, guys. I know you're enjoying that. But,
right?
Each team has a special kind of brotherhood that you guys form throughout the years, depending on what you go through. That all impacts the long-term relationships that you guys have. So what were some special moments that each of you had that you felt like defined your Sun Devil brotherhood with your team?
Oh man,
So many.
Yeah, I mean, I know like for my senior year, I want to say seven guys went down. I went down the first game my senior year, broken fibula. And then one of my best friends, Kirk Wendorf, he ended up going down with the season-ending knee injury. Chris Garrett went down, our starting split end. And so there was just this, senior after senior after senior going down with like season-ending injuries. And, and so we were all kind of, watching the games together, on crutches and whatnot. And, and that was sort of, this odd, awkward kind of bonding experience, being kind of the walking wounded.
Yeah.
I think just going to battle with guys is a bonding experience. I can't think of like one incident that was, this bonding experience. I mean, doing 3-a-days, with your teammates and, and especially the early part of the year, everybody's suffering together. Loved it. Camp
Yeah.
T was, back when I was there in '86. We literally had 3-a-days.
Yeah.
And we were up there for it seemed like 2 weeks.
And I've heard that it didn't matter who it was. It would always seem like if it was raining, the coach would have a magic remote that would make the rain go away when it was practice time, and then the rain would come back as soon as you were done.
Man, we didn't have a lot of rain the years that I was up at Camp T, which is awkward. It's odd for that time of the year. There's typically monsoons, but at night there'd be a lot of rain and monsoons. But I can't remember a whole lot of our practices being canceled because of rain. Now, we'd have some storms roll in and we'd take it to the barn. Mm-hmm. Coach Cooper was very frightened of lightning. and so any lightning on the horizon or anywhere,
he's like, gotta go. He
was just, let's take it in the barn. I mean, we were out of there, man. He didn't play around with lightning at all. But I think just going through camps and that's why I thought it was so great when they brought Camp Tonozona back, because it was such a bonding experience, right? Mm-hmm. And you carry that through for the rest of the year, in my opinion. I think it's a critical piece to kind of the magic sauce like we talked about.
Now, I don't know if you have any special memories, but I also want to ask you about Camp T. So go with your special memories if you have any first, and then we'll revisit Camp T.
Special memory, man. It was the first year with Coach Erickson. That was 2007, and we was on the road. We went, 7-0, 8-0. We're rolling. And I want to say prior we were playing against, I want to say it was Washington. And Ryan Terrain, running back, goes down with a foot injury. And we're like, oh, he'll be back. That's Ryan Terrain. He'll be back out for the year. And that was hard. I mean, because that was like our workhorse. Like every play, every down, Ryan Terrain was special. Yeah. But then, we had, Keegan Herring, Dimitri Nance, and we almost like came together as a team to say, hey, like we got to do it. Obviously we did pretty good that year, but just when somebody goes down, it's almost like we all come together. Mm-hmm. It's like no man left behind, or things like that. So I think that was something that was special. Camp T, oh my goodness. So first year, I'm shook because listen, the phone doesn't work.
Yep.
Okay, you live, eat, and you know what? Football. You wake up, football. You got to do the fight song in front of everybody. Then they boo you. And I'm like, dude, I know the fight song. I know it like right now. And, just waking up early, removing the tarps was amazing, was cool. The freshmen, You
guys had tarps on the field?
Yeah, we had tarps.
Oh, man.
Listen, the rain came in.
Man, you guys had it rough.
The rain would come and we had to, the horn goes and we had to put the tarps down and we had to wait till all the tarps or all the rain passed away. And then we had it was like a 30-minute deal, to make sure that the field wasn't wet.
Did it make you gain appreciation for the maintenance crew that has to do that, at a game?
I appreciate them because it's a lot. I mean, you have probably in one of those little rows, you have maybe 15, 20 guys rolling that tarp out and rolling it back. But then when it did rain, we would have to go down the street to the high school and practice there. But again, just Camp T was just a bonding experience. Like what you said, just you wake up and you see the same guy over and over. Mm-hmm. And then, some guys would bring their music and we would make music. So that's where, I don't know if you guys ever heard of, is the A-State Shuffle by Nate Kimbrough. Nate Kimbrough, I'm giving you a shout out, just to let you know that. Hey, bruh, shout out. So Nate Kimbrough is out of California right now. He's a music producer. So he made A-State Shuffle. And it's we would perform that at clubs back in the day.
Wow.
And it was a dance. Listen, if you can look it up, listen.
Did you guys have the energy to do this? You're like, we did 3 days. We
did 2 days, so we didn't do 3.
My roommate had a really cool rendition of the fight song, and it's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube page. It's pretty good, but it doesn't sound like it's as highly produced as your guys' version.
So this technology now, or when we did it, it was crazy. Like he would bring his like stereo, and I'm like, dude, this is Camp T.
Yeah.
But we would be like late at night, in a freshman or sophomore cabin, we would just be making music. Most people would be asleep, but he made music, and that's what he's doing now. So it was cool. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
it sounds like awesome. It was awesome. And I believe in 2008 was when Dennis Erickson started to move away from Camp T, correct?
Correct.
So
my senior year.
What was that like for you to not have that opportunity?
It was different. You know what I mean? Because I'm used to going to Camp T, and it literally, just like what you said, it feels like 2 weeks, but it's probably maybe 7 days, give or take. And I know for me it was like 7 to 8 days.
Yeah, I think they shortened it a little bit. I don't think ours was 2, but it was definitely. It seemed like it was over a week.
Yeah,
I'd have to check on that, but it was long.
It was.
As a player in your situation, like from my junior year to senior year, had Camp T been canceled my senior year, I think everybody would have been, hell yeah, that's cool. That's a great idea.
But it was so weird. So I'm rooming with a Troy Nolan, okay, safety, because I play safety as well. So they housed us at PV Maine. So Palo Verde dorms
that don't exist anymore.
That don't exist
Isn't
anymore.
That crazy
right?
Too?
And it was so weird. So we could not leave the dorms. So we had friends to come bring us food, and I remember to this day, like it was yesterday, we and him had a 4x4 In-N-Out burger. We was hungry and we couldn't leave. We had that plus animal style fries plus a shake. As you can tell, it was delicious. But that's a memory that I have. Was like, man, really, my senior year we couldn't go to Camp T. Again, I wasn't complaining, but I was just like, we gonna stay here in the dorms and have practice and have 2 a days, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and it's not even like they kept you in the nice dorms. They had you as seniors in PV Maine, like the dumpiest dorms. That's rough.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned singing. A lot of people actually don't know this about you. And I don't know. I don't think we had time to download this video before because I actually didn't know this. But for anyone who goes to games, you might actually recognize his voice because he is the gentleman who does the Go Devils Go at the beginning.
Not me.
Wait, hold on.
It's not you?
No, it's Gus.
It's Gus? I thought it was you.
No. Just in that Sun Devil fan story.
Oh, just in the Sun Devil fan story. It was you. I was so confused. I was like, that's you? I thought it was Gus.
No, as well as Jake and Van Rav. We all kind of did a rendition of it. But yeah, and so the story is, there were a lot of years after I graduated that, in my business going to various football games around the country, I noticed that everybody had a tradition, right? Like University of Washington with the foghorn, USC with kind of the, what they do with the horse and, the dun. Everybody's had something, right? And we didn't really have anything, we didn't really have anything that was kind of a tradition for the Sun Devils during games. And it occurred to me that we did. And it was this guy, Ernie Shavers, that used to stand up in games when I was playing and belt out Go Devils Go. And the guy was, this louder than you can even imagine. You could hear it in Sun Devil Stadium. And we had 74,000, a game back then. And you could hear this guy.
Yeah, that was when you guys sold out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, every game. Because it was just us and the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
And
that's like a whole nother conversation to have with you on a different day.
Right.
So this guy Ernie, was like every game yelling "Go Devils Go," and as players you'd try to imitate the guy, but he was iconic. He'd do the same thing at baseball games, and I don't know, maybe 10 years ago I started to kind of plant the seed with guys like Don Bakke and Tom Collins and Becky Park. Like, what if we could recreate Ernie's Go Devils Go and play it, after every touchdown or before every score, something like that, right? Find a spot for it. And then it occurred to me that we had a guy, this Gus Farwell, right, who was, an opera singer and teammates with Jake. And so Jake got me in touch with him, and I reached out to him and I said, hey man, here's this idea that I've got, would you mind kind of doing some renditions of this code? And I let him listen to the original, and he did his own kind of Gus Farwell treatment. We had about 4 or 5 different versions. I sent them to Don Bakke and Tom Collins and Becky, and they agreed to it, man.
Yeah.
And so we started playing it, in games. I think 3 or 4 years ago we've been doing it now.
It's been for a while because I remember it when I was an undergrad. I feel like I heard it then, and I graduated in 2015. So I feel like it's been a couple years.
So it's a really cool backstory. It would be neat if they played kind of that, or a version of, or did a one sheet for new students so they knew.
Yeah.
Because I got to think that, a new student coming in, they hear this opera singer, they're like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. How does football and opera go together? I don't get it.
But the backstory with Ernie and his love for the Sun Devils, and the fact that he was a staple at every football and baseball game in the 70s and 80s. Everybody that went to those Sun Devil games back then knew him.
Mm-hmm.
They were big fans, and so I think for that segment of our fan base, they love it, right?
Yeah.
It's the new kid, the new students that kind of need to understand what it is and why it's part of our tradition, our history.
Mm-hmm. They just there's like a disconnect. I think with a lot of things, because if you go down, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like if you were to go down to Tempe campus right now and pick out 5 students, right, and you're like, you, come here, sing the fight song, you would be lucky if one of them knew the fight song.
Really? It was kind of mandatory for us.
For football,
yeah,
but I feel like it's just not, there's been a gradual decline in terms of, I feel like, overall fan involvement, and I don't think there's any one particular reason for it over the years, but I do think that a lot of it is, there's so many people who come here from out of state, not necessarily just students but families, and so if maybe they grow up throughout high school in state, but they're not going to understand the significance of the rivalry between ASU and U of A if they're not educated on it. If they don't understand what happened with Prop 200 and it getting burned on the field, the long pushback from U of A against them becoming a university, all the things that have happened since then, you're not going to understand why this trophy means so much. And I feel like that translates to everything within the athletic realm, and especially when it comes to like cultural and traditional types of things. Mm-hmm. So that's a fact sheet would be something. I know this is going to sound stupid, but like an informational type of video.
Well, that video, you could embed that video on a page within the website.
Yeah.
Right? So, what the hell is this sound at games? And then you've got a clip of the video.
Yeah.
Right? What is the Territorial Cup? Here's the history of why it's the oldest rivalry trophy in college football.
They need to pull something about each of those that is just like enough of a headline that makes it pop, that's going to make you want to read it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they'll send stuff, but it's like, here's this, and it's with some sort of caption that doesn't necessarily capture, it doesn't grab your attention to really hit on the significance of what they're trying to present to you with this story and what you could learn from it. There's just a lot of things I think that they've tried and are out there and weren't necessarily a terrible idea. They just could have been executed a little bit better and they would have been a hit. And they're that close. And so, it's unfortunate to see it, but I hope that they are able to implement it a little bit more, especially with the big video board now. I would love to see them use that more during games. But, talking a little bit more about having the opportunity to play with ASU, you had mentioned earlier that you got a scholarship while you were here. You were awarded a scholarship, I should say, and worked your way up. Now you're working with kids to find them a home, help them realize what's best for them, where they should go. What are some of the things you learned in football that you take with you now to your job when trying to help these kids find their path?
That's a good question.
Thanks.
I like you, Brittany. The biggest
you don't have to
thing...
hype me up. I know that's like a question that you probably get asked all the time.
I'm gonna hype you up every day.
Okay.
No, it's hard work and dedication, because sometimes I tell these kids, not sometimes, but I tell these kids, like, follow or trust the process. That's huge. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about what's going on with little Johnny over here or little Bobby, but focus on you. Focus on your controllables. Control what you can control. Mm-hmm. Just like what you said, again, I help high school kids get to college. I've been doing it for the last 4 years. So again, across the country, I got kids everywhere, even in Canada and things like that. But again, just me having to persevere, you know what I mean? Because let's be honest, being a walk-on is not like, let's be a walk-on. Yeah, let's go. It sucks. Let's just be honest. It's hard work, especially when these coaches, they don't spend money on you. You're forking out money on your own. Your parents are. So you got to literally start from the bottom and work your way up. So over the last 4 years, I've had athletes go on as a walk-on. They're working themselves up. But it's a grind. It's a grind. So, hey, trust the process. Again, you better love what you do. And that's what I tell these kids is don't just like football. Because I can wake up and I like football, but, like, I would go back to football in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pretty sure this happens to you, where I have dreams. And I'm just like, man, I wake up like, still, playing against, oh my God, Iowa, when they were ranked like 15th, or playing against LSU with DeMarcus Russell, and, playing against Georgia and Reggie Bush at USC. And it's just crazy because it's ingrained in me. I started playing when I was, oh my God, 7 years old, Pop Warner, and then tore my knee when I was, playing arena ball. But these kids gotta have to understand, like, hey, it's not going to be perfect. You are going to have to, sacrifice, and you are going to have to grind a little bit hard and things like that to get what you want. So, I tell these kids all the time, stop being soft, okay? And I know that I can't say that, so I apologize. But
why can't you say that?
Because I can right now. Yeah. Stop being soft.
But it's so true, man. Like, and especially coming from somebody that probably went through one of the hardest things you can do in athletics, and that's being a walk-on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Man, kudos to you. Thanks. I mean, I can't even imagine what that would have been like, going out to practice, getting taped, going out to practice every day, right? You're not on scholarship. You're getting the shitty jobs. You're on scout team. You're holding bags. But man, to persevere and grind and show the coaches your tenacity and
that's crazy.
Man, that's huge. That's a big deal, man. And so it gives you a lot of credibility, talking that message to those kids.
Right. I agree. And you're definitely right. Just the persevere part, and that's why I tell these kids all the time, like, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Because again, if you believe and you have a great supporting cast, like I had great parents and family, you believe in God and things like that, like, you could definitely do it. But so don't give up because the first try you didn't get it, or the second try you didn't get it, so keep persevering, keep working hard, and let the rest settle itself out.
That's it, man.
You got me all worked up now. Now I'm ready to tackle somebody, Brittany. Jeez.
Sorry. Well, I'm sure, just like he said, he still loves football. He'd go back to it in a heartbeat. You clearly still have a love for football, and you help kids in a different way continue to play, because you have a scholarship fund that you've created through Arizona State, or with Arizona State. I'm not exactly sure of the details, so I don't want to speak too much to it. I'll let you do that. But it's specifically for tight ends. So can you explain how you decided you wanted to give back in this form, and how this came about?
Kevin Minifield, one of my old teammates, and I were talking probably 5-6 years ago about different things, that former players could do, to give back. And, we thought, well, at least I thought, like, how could I help my position group? How could I help tight ends, right? Mm-hmm. And so, with Kevin's help, we kind of created this endowment, this scholarship, where I, put some money, our family put some money into this kind of fund, and it, the scholarship is awarded to a walk-on or non-scholarship tight end every year. And so they're able to kind of, have a little bit of a financial burden off their shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. And so, it's really with Kevin's help that we were able to kind of put that together. And I think there's been, I'm not familiar with the specifics, but I think Kevin got some other guys to kind of step up. And so I think that there's, there's other former players that have done similar things. But yeah, Kevin Minifield and I kind of hatched that up and made that come to fruition. So it's neat. I get a little letter, from the recipient each year, thanking, us for the help, and it's kind of neat. It's just a small way to give back.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that happened.
Well, it sounds like it's an awesome thing that you were able to come up with, and I know it's something that a lot of Sun Devils, or I shouldn't say a lot of Sun Devils, that a number of former Devils that also are in your position that have graduated from the athletics program would like to see more of, is more people who are alumni giving back in some way, shape, or form. I've actually had a lot of conversations with Juan Roque about that and how he gives back and how he'd like to see some of his other teammates do the same. So you know, he gave back last year in a way by giving some of his time to that team before they went to play U of A and had that 70-7 beatdown. But, you know, with this year's team, they've shown glimpses of potential and then moments where you just don't really necessarily know what they're doing. You know, offensively, it looked like it took them a while to get things going, but now they have an absolute stud running back in Rashad White. He's really established himself as the go-to guy. I
like Trainum too, though.
Trainum is good.
Lightning and thunder. I like both of them.
Reminds me of Reggie Bush and Lindell White.
Right, I agree.
Right, back in the day.
Back in the day, man. Listen, you ready to talk about this?
Yeah, you guys. I wanted to talk to you just about this team. So you guys start the conversation, and we'll just see where it goes.
You know, first off, they're first in their region, right? So kudos to that, right? I'm loving that. Offensively, again, great quarterback and Jaden Daniels. Two great. I like the running backs. You know, they complement each other. You know, like what you said as far as
and
Lindell.
You haven't got us still too.
Yeah,
they have guys for days. You know, the young man. And you know what? I got my notes because I knew I was going. You know, I pulled a U.
Go in.
I was gonna go in. What's my guy? Oh, here we go. The wide receiver. Oh, I like Shelton. For some reason, I don't.
LB Bunkley Shelton.
I don't know what. Something about him.
Stud.
He's a stud.
He's an absolute stud.
I like him a lot. What I want more of is for them to run the ball more to set up Daniels. You know what I mean? And not hit all these, 40-yard passes every play. Like just, hey, let's get, 5 yards of pop. 'Cause let's be honest, 5 yards of pop, that's the first down. Every 2 times.
Yeah.
Then from there, hey, let's see once the defense starts creeping up, hey, now let's do a play action or an RPO or, roll out, whatever that may be. Then let's hit it deep because they have a lot of wide receivers for days. Man.
Do you see any wide receivers, though, that have kind of emerged this year like in years past? I mean, it feels like we've been really, like, I think back, the whole history that I've kind of been aware of Sun Devil football, there's always been a really standout wide receiver.
I mean, even in recent years.
Even on crummy teams, there was a guy.
That go-to.
Just a guy, right? And I don't know who that guy is this year. Now, Hodges is emerged. I'm really happy to see as a former tight end because I was worried about Hodges, man.
Okay.
Like in years past, this guy, have you seen Hodges in person?
Yeah, he used to come into my old work all the time and come hang out. He
this
was a
guy
big dude.
Is a house.
He's big.
And last year and the year before, I don't know that he was that confident. And that's an important element in catching the ball.
Yes.
And he dropped a few balls.
Right.
This year, man, he's all about confidence. I mean, he's in my mind one of the standouts on that offense. I love his game, especially the last few weeks. But there's not, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know who that dog is.
I don't think
wide
that
receiver.
they have a dog.
They have a lot of compliment wide receivers. Where,
sure.
Like you
Parasol's
have
good.
Right, because I think he was the one that had the big game against UCLA.
Yeah.
He is. He had a big game against UCLA. I really would venture to say that his biggest game that he had as a breakout player was last year against U of A. Because he was really more so of a backup guy at that point in time. And, once ASU was up by, 35-7, I want to say. Or they were up by a significant amount. And then I felt like that was when you started to see him get the ball into his hands more and make more plays.
But is he in that same category?
No, he's not.
Of like an Ayuk, of a Darby, of a Nikhil.
No, and that's
is
something
he in that same range?
No, they touched on that a little bit this week. They said Bobby Wade said it's hard for them because they have so many guys. And so really they just want every guy to go out into practice
do their job
and compete the hardest that they can compete to elevate the level of everybody, and whoever's played the best that week of practice is who's starting.
That's tough. I mean, I get it. I mean, keep everybody hungry. I get that. But you're right. It's not just that one, like, hey, if it's 3rd and 8, who can I go to?
Yeah.
I mean, like I know back then when I was playing, we had Chris McGahey. Love him to death because when he made that awesome catch he was
a baller.
Like we knew, hey, if it's 3rd and 8, we got to go to him. We knew, or Mike Jones. We used to be like, Mike Jones, because that song came out. I mean, we just had guys, but it's
who's that guy on this team? It's third and it's 3rd and 7.
3rd and 7.
And you need
Rashad White.
Yeah.
Unless it's Utah.
Stop it.
Hey, man, you were passing the ball really well the entire game. Why are you all of a sudden going to abandon everything that's working for you and just hammer the run game?
I know.
And hammer the run game and hammer the run game.
Or the bubble screens.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not going to say I hate bubble screens, but damn it, I hate bubble screens. I need you to go, like, for instance, we played against Stanford, okay? Go downhill, get yards.
Yeah.
But then this is the offense that people run now. Is that RPO, bubble screen, behind the line of scrimmage and let your athletes do his work or, do what they do. I mean, they have so many guys. They can go 2 by 2. They can go empty all day.
Yeah.
Just spread them out, I would like them. I mean, man, now you got me hyped.
I mean, I love, pound the rock, and then that opens up the world, right?
Yeah.
Play action.
Tight end
pop
really matters, right? And
yeah.
then you get Jaden, you've got an incredibly athletic quarterback. You roll him out, let him scan the field. Where are my drag routes? Where are my tight ends dragging?
Right.
Where are my crossing routes?
It just opens
Where are my
everything
deep
up.
routes? When's the last time you saw a ball over 30, 40 yards? I mean, compared to previous years.
UCLA.
Yeah, but I say UCLA.
But, man, we were going deep. We were taking shots the last 4 years, it seems like. And this year, it doesn't seem like we take a lot of shots.
No, this offense just seems like it took a little bit of time for them to get their feet fully under them with, I don't know what it was. Like, they still are having some issues in terms of the penalties and the movement. And I just don't know where the disconnect is with them.
Yeah. Now, let's talk defense.
Defense is looking pretty good. I'm expecting
yeah.
to have Chase Lucas back. They're expecting to have Chase Lucas back. I'm expecting him to have a good game.
We got a couple dogs on defense. Start with Butler.
Yep, Butler's having an outstanding season.
The linebacker.
He actually stood up and took credit for the Utah loss and said that he, as a leader, was one of the people who wasn't vocal enough and said he needs to do more.
Wow.
And so I thought that was big to get up on stage at a press conference and say, I didn't do enough as a leader. Not only did I not lead by example, but I wasn't being vocal enough on the sidelines to tell my guys we need to do more.
Okay.
Wow, that's huge.
That is.
So he's big.
Merlin
Robertson. I feel like he's not necessarily having as good of a season as what everybody had anticipated for him. His stats are not on par to end the year with where they would have been after his freshman and sophomore year.
I don't think he's surpassed his freshman performance.
I don't think so either. He came in hot. I mean, when I was looking, I was like, man, is this like another rendition of? Are you in my head right now?
Yeah, man.
I was like, man, this.
You remember Vontez as a freshman?
So I didn't play with him. So I left. He came in, but man,
dude,
I saw him as a junior. I was a freshman when he was a junior with.
So to me,
Brock.
his freshman year was the year, right? Like he was sideline to sideline. You talk about a guy that could tilt the field. Listen, and then all of a sudden, man, I mean,
things happen.
He went off the reservation.
Yeah,
he just got crazy.
And I mean, and again, sometimes success gets in your head, or sometimes you got to have that person to keep you level headed or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Accountability, like, hey, we know you're good.
Yeah.
Chill out. Like, because let's be honest, every week he was getting 4 or 5 penalties. I'm like, dude, like, calm it down, bro. Like, chill. But I mean, yeah.
Well, he was a really exciting player to watch his freshman year.
Yeah.
He was exciting to watch his junior year, even when he racked up a lot of penalties. I know that year the team finished, I want to say 6-6. And they ended up losing that game, the last game of the year against U of A. But I still have really, really good memories of watching ASU football play my freshman year, and just some absolutely huge moments with him and Brock Osweiler and Carl Bradford was on that team. Will Sutton. That was just another team that had a lot of really good players on it. But
Will Sutton was a beast.
Yeah.
Before we move on to getting some predictions for this weekend, I would be remiss if I don't bring up DraftKings. I was supposed to do an ad read about 20 minutes ago. Got a little bit distracted.
Okay.
Make sure you go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use our code PHNX when downloading and bet just $5 on any NFL team. And whatever, if they win, or you have to bet on them to win, not lose, obviously.
Okay.
Bet on any NFL team to win, and if they win their game, you will get $200 in free bets. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It's as easy as that.
Do that right.
Also, I'm not sure how you guys feel about, your typical male shaving products. I'm touching my face. I don't have anything to shave. But Manscaped has razors to get you all smooth. So make sure if you want a smooth face to go to manscaped.com, use our code PHNX, and you'll get 20% off and free shipping.
I thought I was going somewhere else.
I was a little nervous. I didn't know what you was doing. But
I'm keeping it smooth right now. Not going to go anywhere besides that one. But yeah, so also you can head over to GoPHNX and look at our Pac-12 picks of the week for a full breakdown of all the picks. But today we're going to be doing a little bit of discussing this ASU versus Washington State game over the weekend. An early kickoff. They moved back a little bit, though, 12:20, so I can't exactly say noon anymore. But a midday kickoff, I almost don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my day now.
Right. I mean, probably relax a little bit.
That's how it used to be.
Right.
That's how all
it was amazing.
Games were at noon,
go out there and sweat a little bit, and then we're done by, probably 4 o'clock. Rest up just a little bit, hit meal. Or Scottsdale.
I mean, rest is for the weary.
Ma'am, we need to rest, okay? Okay?
Listen, it's all about just how you function, okay? You just keep telling yourself, like,
I'm good.
I'm going to slam this Red Bull, and then I'm going to just, 30 more minutes. And then you just stay distracted long enough that you don't realize it's been 40. And you're like, it's already been 10 more minutes. I'm just going to stay.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. But
what do you think helps the program? Late games or
I think there needs to be a solid mix of both.
Yeah.
I don't like anything that's too early in the morning in terms of...
like 12:30.
Yeah, I think that's a solid time to have a kickoff,
3 o'clock, East Coast, right?
Colorado has been playing a couple of those 10 a.m. time slots. I think that's a terrible time slot for any team in the Pac-12. Unfortunately, it's one of those realities that you're going to have to deal with every once in a while, having that 3-hour time difference. But for the most part, I think if they can avoid falling in that time slot, the other ones from 12:30, anything from then on, I think is good. But you don't want to always be in that nighttime slot, especially when things were more limited with the Pac-12 network.
Yeah,
I think it helps the program without the Pac-12 network. Even if most of their games are at night, you're still going to have people who will say, oh, I'll record it, catch highlights in the morning, or they'll put it on as they're falling asleep or whatever. It's just...
You know what, though? I think when we're in those early games where it's hot, let's use that to our advantage. Because let's be honest.
Play at night?
No, play
during
during.
the day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, fans are...
I know fans don't like it,
well,
but...
fans haven't been coming out. They don't really come out in full force to those first couple games anyways.
I know they don't. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Now, and it's weird. How you guys used to always sell out, but you also didn't have as much competition. How big of ticket competition was it, even after you had very first graduated, if you were coming back to a game, for UCLA coming to town, USC, U of A, versus, a Washington or a Washington State or an Oregon State?
Yeah, I think as the Cardinals came in and the Coyotes and the Diamondbacks, there was definitely, the pie. We had to share the pie with these other teams, right? But, back in the 80s when I was there, every single game, didn't matter. It could have been San Jose State and it would be sold out, right? And it was an event.
Way different than now.
And so we're talking about the heat, right? I can remember my junior year, we played Nebraska on September, 29th or something, right? 27th, something like that. And it was 112, right? 112.
This year in September, it was nice by that
point. Right.
And it was standing room only.
Oh,
so this notion that fans won't come out and they won't put up with the heat, I don't know. Maybe fans like everybody else they've changed, right?
I want
they
to
become
time
spoiled.
travel to a different Sun Devil nation.
But it was amazing. Sun Devil Stadium, 74,000 people standing up, rocking. That was a really challenging place for people to come and play. It was a lot like Husky Stadium, right? Really loud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good old Husky Stadium. That's crazy because, the biggest crowd that I played in at Sun Devil Stadium was when we played against Iowa. Oh my gosh, it was probably in like probably high 50s, low 60s. It was crazy.
Had they downsized the stadium when you were there? Had they already done that?
They didn't. Well, they kind of sectioned a couple of areas off because they knew that when it was raining. But then I'm thinking to myself, well, Iowa was ranked like 15th or 16th. You know, we were thinking it was going to be a sold out crowd, but it wasn't. That was a big game. I mean, playing LSU was a big, huge game because we were supposed to play there. But then, you know, with Katrina happening.
That was after Katrina. That was after that game.
Yeah. So that was crazy. Again, we won't talk about that game.
Heartbreaker.
I was on the field and I saw DeMarcus Russell run one way, should have got sacked, run the other way and throw it to the caddy corner, and they called it a touchdown. We're like, no. But then that's when they didn't have the review. You know, let's not talk about that. Listen, I still have dreams about that too. We should have won that game. Okay.
Well, let's make some predictions for this weekend's game. How do you see this unfolding? How do you see Arizona State winning, and how do you see them doing so?
Okay. I see them winning.
Okay.
Score 38-17. Mark it. Take to the bank.
All right.
Take to the bank. Go get a lottery ticket. Call Rodney Cox, 480-399. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, let's go.
All right. How about for you?
I think they win for sure. I think with the bye week, I think there's been a lot of, self-reflection. Players getting letters, I think all of that's going to have an impact on the area that we need to adjust in the greatest way, and that's penalties. Right. We've got to eliminate the mental mistakes on both sides of the ball. The penalties are almost equally split, if I'm not mistaken, on offense and defense and special teams.
They have 11 with special teams. I don't know why that's the only number that sticks out in my head, but
yeah, and so they've got to clean that up, right? And I think they do that. I would say, I'd love to see us get into the 40s. So I'm going to say 42 a la Pat Tillman, and let's call it 42-17.
Okay.
I think Washington State's just going to be a little shell-shocked with their coach out of there. I think it's just, anytime something like that happens, for the reasons that it happened with him, I think there's going to be a negative effect. Versus if, he was a jerk, because he was a pretty, from what I've read, he was a pretty beloved coach.
He was.
They really
People liked him.
The players really liked him. So I think they're going to be negatively impacted by that.
Yeah. Now, I agree with that. I also think that a lot of people who are maybe thinking Washington State might have a little bit more of a chance are comparing their last game that they played in against BYU to the same BYU team that Arizona State faced earlier this year. They are not the same. Jaron Hall is not the same quarterback since Arizona State has played them. So the fact that that game was as close as it was between BYU and Washington, I don't think is a true comparison or a litmus test of sorts to look at these two and say, oh, well, here's how this game's going to play out. I think Arizona State, as long as they're able to stay confident and control what they can control, I think they'll do just fine and should be able to walk away with a pretty significant win. I'm going with 40-24.
Ooh,
40-24.
I'd love to feel 40 spot. We're due for a 40 spot.
Okay. You know
we'll
what?
See.
Are we writing this down?
It's recorded.
It's on the interweb.
Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure y'all know.
Your dad's been saying hi this whole time.
Wait, how do I know? Wait, really?
Yeah.
Build it and they will. What team must never be set? Lord Jesus.
Hold on, I'll put up a good one.
Wait, O-line must play. Lord, what? You know what?
Your parents believed in you.
See, your parents believed in you the whole time.
You know what? Tell my
Papa Rodney.
Hey, Papa Rodney.
Are an MVP.
MVP. Let's go. I love it.
Well, gentlemen, any departing thoughts before we hit the road here?
Oh, man.
Do we have any sympathy for our friends down south?
No, not even close.
None,
well,
right?
With the work that I do, yeah, you know what? I do have sympathy.
I mean,
they need to get better.
Those guys, I mean, geez, can you imagine?
Listen,
what are they up to now? 20?
20.
Yeah.
20.
Listen.
They have not won a game since October 5th of 2019.
I was just there. So I took a couple of my kids to the U of A NAU game. Crazy.
Oh, so you got to see that upset.
Hey. So we're there, and I'm just like, this can't be happening. not saying little brother, but I'm like, NAU is really about to beat. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So do I feel sympathy? Not really, because again, I'm an ASU guy, so those coaches there, they know like I bleed maroon and gold.
Yeah.
But for the student athletes, I'm like, damn, like really, like 2 years. I mean, they haven't won a game. They need to be some self-check. Maybe we need to go into the locker room and talk. And I'm not talking about talk with my mouth, but we're going to need to talk like, hey, we need to get this thing together because I didn't come to U of A to ... to
run the triple option?
Stop.
I saw that on Twitter today. Somebody pulled up that old Khalil Tate gem.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man, because it affects the whole conference and the
does.
perception of the conference that we can have a team that's got 20 straight losses.
That bad.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they should have won last
week. And they cleaned house.
Yeah, they really should have.
Right?
I mean,
like, isn't the entire staff new?
Yes.
The entire staff.
So what do you do?
Well, everyone's saying that's been a question.
Okay.
Is he on the hot seat?
People said yes, and I'm like,
how?
That's
He
insane.
can't be
That's
on the
insane.
hot seat because
That's
you
not even
literally
his
just
recruit.
spent how much of the university's money to buy out Kevin Sumlin,
Yeah.
and you're in your first year with Jed Fish.
right.
Like, yeah, I could see you saying, "Oh, are some of these graduate assistants on the hot seat?"
Right.
Yeah, because we pay $0 for them, so see you later.
But not the head coach.
Yeah, no.
I know it's crazy. It's insane. It's crazy. You got to give him at least 3 years. At least the first year is not even his recruits.
Yeah.
Give him time to recruit and get his type of guys to change the program.
Totally agree.
So oh my God, when I saw that again, I'm not a U of A guy, but I was like,
That's
really?
crazy.
Yeah,
1 year?
I did think the same thing too. I said no.
Right, I was like, no,
Well, the
you
same
can't.
thing's going on at UW with Lake. They're calling for his head after the Montana loss.
Right.
That's a Dylan Morris issue.
Okay. Ooh.
Did anyone watch the game
No, I did not.
against U of A
Montana's
last
legit. What are you talking about?
week? Dylan Morris, their
UW?
quarterback. Yes, I think
Okay.
he is the central issue with their offense not being able to produce. I mean, you have your defense that's out there on the field so much because
Okay.
offensively, you had a kid who was supposed to be a 5-star quarterback who's going out there missing shots by like 6
Okay.
feet.
You ain't
You're not
right.
even
Okay.
within the receiver's
okay.
vicinity. He just looked terrible. And that, I guess, is how he had played most of this year. And then he came out in the fourth quarter, and suddenly everything was clicking. He was rolling. He was hitting passes.
then-
And that's
And he
probably how
looked
he
like
looks during the week.
Yeah, and so it's one of
Their
those things. I
practice.
think it's a Dylan Morris issue with Washington as to why that they're struggling.
Okay.
Not so much a Jimmy Lake thing.
So
Yeah.
then what do you do as a coach, right? Because a coach is there to win, right? It's a business at the end of the day. Like, at some point in time, you got to switch out, go to your backup or whatever that may be. Like, forget the stars and forget the high school accolades and things like that. Like, if you're that bad, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, are we just going to just keep going down this downhill sled? Like, I hate it. I mean, that's something I'm like, do you switch?
I mean,
Or maybe the backup is not that great, and the switch would be
Then, I
even
mean, that's
worse.
bad recruiting. Call Rodney Cox. I got some dogs.
It's gonna hurt them in the long run.
And
I
that's
feel like
Lake's
for Washington.
forte, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the recruiting guy.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
I know
he
it's
is.
crazy. I know.
It's wild, but I can't believe it's already been an hour. It's been an absolute pleasure to have both of you on with me. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope to have you on again at some point in the future.
I will drive here an hour and a half to sit here and talk to you anytime.
Ditto.
You should. But he's close though. He's only up the street.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got a Santan Valley. It was lovely.
Oof.
Ooh, that's brutal.
It was, yeah.
Well,
Maybe she can hook up the chopper for you next time.
we got a landing
They got
pad right over there
is
at
it
St.
on?
Joseph's Hospital.
Okay. I'll pay for gas.
Okay. We fly you by?
Oh.
Hey, there we go.
Come on. Turn
All right,
up.
guys. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Joining us in studio tomorrow will be Juan Roque and Kyle Murphy, who played on that 96 Rose Bowl team. Going to be talking about some of their time since then, what they've been up to, and catching up. So we'll see you out at homecoming this weekend if you're out there.
Say
Follow
what's
us on everything, and see you later.